I was going to ask you about the scape off. You became the champion once again, and I was going to ask if there would be anyone you'd be willing to scape off with again, and if so, who and why?
I would go up against... well, at that event, I went up against Mike from AquaPro. So I'm going to try to get on this podcast because he's doing some cool things right now. Starting up a new company and stuff, and I'd really like to dive deeper into that and help promote him and stuff. But I went up against Mike, and Mike got it.
Yeah.
He understood what I was doing.
Mm-hmm.
So
he understood the assignment.
yeah. So a lot of people think that the scape off. So when I come up with the idea of the scape off and going head to head, it was originally in the UK against George Farmer years ago, and when we talked about it, and I always give him credit, like he come up with the idea. That's not really what it doesn't matter. Apples and oranges, whatever. I was like, aquarium events are boring. They are boring for the most part, and I'm like, if I come over there and we do this, I was like, I don't want it to be serious. I want to get the crowd involved. I want them cheering. I want them to feel like they're actually involved with something, as opposed to just sitting in the background as
quietly and watching.
As we spend an hour setting up a tank. I was like, screw an hour. Let's do it in 15 minutes. And I think at that point we did 20, 30 minutes, which was way too long. And that was when I realized that I'm really onto something. You know, I got the crowd involved. And what I realized from there is, like, if I go up against serious aquascapers, they think this is really who's the better scaper.
Yeah.
In my opinion, when we're doing a scape off, you and I are not winning or losing. It's the crowd. And if you don't want to feed to the crowd, if you don't want to play off the crowd, if you don't want to give them the best experience possible, they lost.
Yeah.
If you want to take this serious, I'm probably going to win.
And you want to give them a reason to want to come back.
I only lost once.
Yeah.
I went up against George Farmer twice.
It was when I was there.
I went up against the Sedsky brothers. I went up against Dustin, Mike. I think I'm like 5-1.
Yeah.
And I lost against Dustin for a simple reason. He played the crowd with me, and I was hungover, so he did it way better than I would.
And I dumped water all over his passport by accident in his backpack, and then he had to go on stage. Yeah,
right before I had to go on stage. I don't have to make excuses, but right before I went on stage, my passport was soaked. And I was like, this is how I get home. I'm like, we got to figure this out.
It wasn't good.
You disappeared off trying to dry it. I got to get on stage.
Hand drying it under the blow dryer. The Haley from On Ball Aquatics came in the bathroom. She's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I dumped water on his passport by accident. It's not a good time.
Yeah, so it was interesting. And but when I went up against Mike, I tried to, so previous to that, I was like doing Instagram stories and roasting him, trying to hype it up and stuff. And he never replied back, so I was like, great.
And you were giving it to him.
Yeah, well, it was funny, tasteful.
It was a good time.
And I thought that he's going to take this serious. And there's been some people that took it serious against me, and they get so if you watch the videos back, and some people do creative editing, but you'll watch if you watch it unedited, I'm the one that when their turn is to get the cheers and whatnot, I'm the one clapping and going like this, get the crowd to give them cheers.
Clap for them. Yeah.
And then when it's my turn, besides Mike, everybody's just they just cross their arms.
They're upset that he won.
And I'm like, this isn't a competition.
Yeah.
Well, it's fun. Well, it is. I don't want to remove my tactics from it. And people are like, this is just for fun for Joey. And he's just, I want people to still attend them and do those things. But that was never the point. I don't think I'm actually a better scaper. I think that we have different methods and tastes and ideas and what we like and what they like. And we're just different hobbyists that do different things. But Mike was playing the crowd. And there's a couple of times when I got nervous.
Sticker throw.
First and foremost, there's not many scaping supplies. There's
I saw.
There's 3 rock piles
on their Facebook,
and all the rocks are different colors, and there's 5 of each rock.
Yeah.
And it was a 70-gallon tank.
Yeah.
And then I had 2 sticks, and he had 3. I'm like, what am I going to do with this? So I was like, okay, we'll play the crowd and joke around and whatnot. But he got to it before me.
Yeah.
He come over. Ultimate disrespect, but I loved it. He took a pocket full of the stickers that he sells, and he like made it rain in my tank.
It was good.
And it was good, but it pissed me off because I was like, oh, he's got this now. This is clutch move. So I was like, I took him out and I just started giving them out to the crowd because I'll do that. Like if I think I'm losing, I'll start giving free stuff out. I'll take scaping supplies off the stage. Like, here, you want this? Here, you can have this.
You like me, right?
Yeah, that's not why I do it. I just, everything on the stage is already written off and it's supposed to be. So I'm like, screw it. Nobody's ever gotten mad at me for giving the stuff out, so I just do it anyways. And it's mostly kids and stuff. And then I tried to pick him up and put him in my tank.
Yeah, I watched it back, and when he was still away, I texted him. I was like, when are you going to pick me up like that?
But it was fun, and that was the first time that he got to experience that many people, I think, and the cheering and stuff, and I feed off, and I was used to it, so I always have that advantage of, like, I was nervous, too, when I used to get on stages and stuff. Now I love it,
it's fun.
Well, I don't love it. I'm still nervous.
Yeah.
I'm still... self-conscious and stuff, and the same, I still get stage fright, and I might choke, but I'm a little more experienced, and that is important, to be experienced in that type of area, to be in front of that many people and that loud.
For sure.
And it went to the cheering again because they were doing text messages.
Oh yeah, that they had like a.
So, and I said, I was like, so you want people to sit there
yes.
quietly? You want people to sit there quietly and text their vote in? I'm like, why?
Maybe COVID? I don't know.
Like, who cares?
Was it because of COVID?
Well, I did bring it up. I did bring it
spraying
up to Sean at one point that I was like, I'll do the scape off, but I only have one condition. The person holding it and the people on the stage can't scream at the top of their lungs for the other person.
To the microphone.
Yeah. So they'll do this. They'll put up the sensor.
Yeah.
And then, like, I watch the playbacks.
Yeah.
I was like, they're screaming on stage.
Right here.
And then when it's mean, they're all quiet. But I still won because it's actual crowd response. And people are like, oh, this is just a popularity contest. I'm like, yes. I'm like, that is all voting is. It's never voting never
that
really comes down to the best.
If you look at it, that is what voting is.
Yeah, that is what even
like if you look at politics.
Democracy
exactly.
is like who gets the most votes is who's your new leader. And it is a popular and with this I tried to explain to people, I was like, to everybody I scape off with, is like, it's not about who has the best scape, it's who's the best entertainer, and it will definitely help if your scape's cool.
Well, that's what's going to bring people to want to watch it and look forward to going and watching that event and coming to see that.
Well, Mike was close with me, and Dustin did really well as well, but I don't view them as like pro scapers. I think they're like really good hobbyists that do really good scapes, probably better than me. But when they go up against pro scapers, what they get a taste of is like, your scapes are beautiful, but they're not relatable.
Right.
And when people see mine, it's far more relatable. Like, that's something I feel I could do, and they would cheer for that. Yeah. And it's interesting. I like it anyways. Nonetheless, it's always been fun.
Cool to think about.